Chapter 19. Eddy knocked on the door. There was a long period of silence until the door finally opened. A dark figure could be seen through the chained locked door. "Park don't open until noon," the voice said, upon seeing the Eds standing at his doorstep. Eddy recognized that smooth, husky voice in a heartbeat. "I told you he's a whiz at telling time!" Eddy exclaimed to Ed. "Pipsqueak?" the figure asked, when he realized who the boy in the yellow shirt was. "Oh!" Eddy greeted, jumping in the air. "Do Mom and Dad know you're here?" he asked. "As if!" There was silence. "Anyone know you're here?" He was really empathized on the anyone part. Who else was he referring to? "Only these chumps who chased us here," Eddy said through the door. The door was unlatched. "Just a sec," and he emerged from the shadows. Eddy felt his heart explode. Here he was. He looked taller, but he still looked just like him. That's the one thing that he was never going to change. How old was he now? He must have been in his 20s. Adults always had sense. "Aren't those ankle biters from the cul-de-sac?" he asked, seeing the kids in front of him. Eddy went up and wrapped himself around his legs. "Yeah, and they said they wanted to beat me up, all for nothing." His brother turned and looked at the kids. Eddy snickered when Kevin looked as if he's going to wet his pants. He even tried to hide behind Rolf. "All for nothing, huh?" his brother said, looking imitating as he removed his sunglasses. The next thing Eddy knew that he was being scooped up from his feet. "Still the trouble-making Eddy, I see." His brother laughed happily, giving him a noogie. Eddy laughed, but he moved his brother's hand away. It felt so strange that his brother was being so kind to him. It was rare. "Stop it, bro! I smell my fingers after I eat cheese," Ed said in his usual dumb smile. Eddy glanced at his brother. Did he remember Ed? The memory of how he heard Ed came to his mind, but Eddy forced it away. I told the guys you hooked us up," he said with a nervous smile. "Ed and Double D." Ed fainted from all the excitement. Eddy winced, but he heard his brother laughing. This was funny? Yes, of course it was. He couldn't show his brother that he turned into a worrywart. Suddenly, Eddy was bonked off the stairs. His brother dropped him. Was that by accident? It could have been like that time where he tripped him on the staircase. His brother bent down to him and whispered rather loudly, "Why's your girlfriend wearing a sock on her head?" Girlfriend? Was he blind? And his brother was really going to go there? Since last summer, he's been questioning about his sexuality. At one point, he felt attracted to Naz, but then a few months later, he didn't anymore. He felt these strange feelings toward Ed. Eddy was trying to ignore it because he didn't know what his brother would think about that. His brother suddenly scooped him up and balanced him on one foot. "Sure, I'll help you out." Eddy's jaw dropped. "Really?" he exclaimed, with every amount of excitement. He leapt up and embraced his brother. "He really has changed. After all that time of wanting to turn back, he was only being a baby. What would I do without you? You're my hero! Happy place, Double D! Happy place!" Ed yelled, happily running around in circles. Kevin had steam boil within himself as the Eds partied to themselves. The Eds got lucky this time. "Isn't it touching, Sarah? It's like a fairy tale come true," Jamie said to Sarah. Sarah folded her arms. Brothers were stupid. They all were. "Eddy and his two stooges got away with our lives, man. We got burned again," Kevin said as the kids untied one another. The next thing the kids knew, they were witnessing something horrific. "Bro, don't!" Eddy begged, the instant he recognized the look in his brother's eyes.
His brother was holding him above the ground by his lip. Just for the old time's sake, let's play uncle. His brother spun him onto his back. Wanna crash at my place, don't ya? That's why we came all the way. A sheer amount of pain went through Eddie's leg. His brother twisted his little brother's leg in an angle it wasn't supposed to go in. Oh my! Ed gasped under his breath. He noticed Ed smiling at the scene when his brother let go, and Eddie went spinning around like a wind-up toy. Eddie's brother laughed his horrendous laugh. Was this how all siblings acted? Eddie was roughly grabbed from the back of his pants. That was good, Pipsqueak. Eddie was placed right in his hand. He felt so high from the ground. Was he always this tall? He grew nervous. Everyone was staring at him. He had to be just playing with him. Yeah, all those times he was hurting him was his way of playing. So, can we go inside now? Eddie asked. Why not? Don't forget to wipe your feet. Eddie was thrown against his brother's house, not just once, but twice, and then a third time, and so on. Ed's smile disappeared from his face. This didn't look like as if his brother was playing around for fun anymore. Eddie looked like he was getting hurt. Dude, Eddie's brother is a real jerk, Nas said, shocked at what she was seeing. Kevin hid behind Nas. He heard the vile things that he did, but he didn't know that he tortured Eddie too. What's he doing to my man? Lee screamed. She charged at him, but her sisters kept her back. Who knew what that man could do to her? The final time Eddie was thrown against the house, it tipped off its feet. Eddie grabbed hold of his brother's arm. That's all he could do, along with smiling. Bro, give it up! Eddie yelled. Give it up? I thought you wanted to hang out with your hero. He shoved his face right into Eddie's. He smiled so evilly. Eddie's heart burst in fear when he smelled alcohol on his breath. I do, bro, I do! Mr. Eddie's brother! Ed spoke up. Eddie turned and gave Ed a fearful look. He didn't want him to get into this. As the older sibling, don't you think you should be setting an example for Ed? And not, Eddie's brother stared at him in the most menacing way possible. He couldn't back down, like he told himself in the swamp that he needed to be strong. Belittle him in front of his friends? Belittle? He's always been little, he scoffed. I like you, girlfriend. He continued on with that insulting act. Before anyone could react, he used Eddie as if he was a hammer and hit Ed deep into the ground. You got spunk. Double T! Ed and Marie yelled. What the heck? Somebody do something! Jamie yelled out. Rolf puffed up his chest. Rolf has had enough of your flap doodle, Elder One! Prepare yourself for a merciless thrashing! Rolf threw Kevin into the picture. Kevin looked back, wanting to run. All these years, he blamed Eddie for his mother's leaving. He had nothing to do with it. It's his brother he should be angry with. For the first time, Kevin saw how hopeless his enemy looked. Enemies or not, Eddie needed help. Hey, bro guy! Kevin shouted, causing the man to turn and glare at him. Lay off him, man! Yeah, Mr. Macho Man! Naz called out. The kids ganged up one another. Although all of them didn't like Eddie, this wasn't right. Ed stood alone against the house. He was powerless. He eyed the door that was being stretched out by Eddie's arms. An idea lit up in his eyes. After all these years of Ed and Eddie doing things for him, it was time to pay the favor back. He removed one of the latches that held the door together. The door went flying back like a slingshot. The second Eddie's brother turned around, he took the door right in his face. Eddie was released, but he was forced to bounce along the ground as he held onto the door. He slammed down to the ground, only falling unconscious for a few seconds. having taken such a hard hit to the head. The kids winced when they saw the whole scene unfold in front of them. Eddy's brother wobbled around until he fell to the ground. He was in such a daze that he let the phrase uncle escape from his mouth. The two friends ran and bent over their friend's side. Eddy was alive, only staring miserably at the sky. "Eddy, speak to me!" Ed shouted the instant Ed pulled him out of the ground. "Are you all right?"